You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Folks, it's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. All right, it could be some other show. You never know. I could just be faking it. There you go. I think we're going to call this the Epic Beard Show because my guest, if you watch this on YouTube, has an epic beard as we wait for the audience. We're just going to skip the applause because it won't load. Usually there's applause there, but I pressed the button and StreamYard doesn't like us today. Anyway, guys, this is always the ramble. We just make up some noise so that we can cajole you into referring the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. YouTube.com/Chris Voss. You guys know the drill. Refer your family, friends, and relatives. One a day. That's all we ask from you guys. It's like the pill. It's like the aspirin or something. I don't know. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to be talking to him today about his series of books that he has and some of the things he's up to as an indie author. He is the author of the latest book to come out, Single and Cooking, Book 1. David J. Collins joins us on the show. This came out August 15th, 2025. You can find it wherever fine books are sold out there. David is the indie author of 6 novels spanning LGBTQ+, fiction, horror, and romance over 50. At the heart of his work are powerful themes standing up against oppression, finding chosen family, and embracing second chances. Since releasing his debut novel, Gay Bash, 12 years ago, David has become a familiar face at festivals and cons around Chicago. Recently, he has launched a speaking business to inspire others to connect with their own creative passions. Welcome to the show, David. How are you?
I'm great, Chris. Really excited to be here with you today.
We're excited to have you as well. Give us your .coms and tell us where people can find you on those interwebs in the sky.
Absolutely. Website is David J. Collins. That's David, J-A-Y, Collins.com. And on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, it's also David J. Collins. Again, that's David, J-A-Y, Collins.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside this book, Single and Cooking?
Yeah. It is about a reserved and popular professor who is on sabbatical in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and he discovers new possibilities with love and career while he's at the beach over the summer.
All right. Well, that's great then. He finds love. And what's the cooking part about?
Yeah. He is out at the beach and he's just had a breakup. So he doesn't want to go into town and possibly run into, the ex and the evil friends.
Yeah.
So he starts hosting dinners at his vintage beachfront cottage that he's renting for the summer. He's been a renter there for many summers. And it turns out that he starts making matches with the invited guests. And they turn into engagements. And word starts spreading. And soon this, professor who expects to be doing research and writing papers and kind of being away from the grind of teaching, is starting to get a lot of interest in this beautiful beachfront town called Rehoboth Beach. And it's all about him taking chances with new opportunities and also finding that after 50, love has been right in front of him the whole time. It's
after 50.
Book 1, after 50. Yeah. I wrote this because this isn't a genre that really has a lot of characters, first of all, who are LGBTQ, but it's also a genre that doesn't have many characters, central characters, who are over the age of 50, regardless of who those characters are. And I wanted Single and Cooking to be a complete 1-book, 2-book series. The second book will be out this June. And the response has been really positive. My number one reader, as I found you mentioned earlier, I'm at a lot of festivals and cons. My number one reader is actually straight women.
Straight women, really?
Yes.
Well, there you
horror, romance, fiction. And that's something that I love because it kind of reaches across demographics. And it's been great to meet people in person that way.
There you go. It's dating after 50 is quite interesting. I think you're single
I am.
at your age, and then I'm single too, and I've been dating in the dating markets, and boy, it's a lot different than when you're 20.
It is a lot different than in 20. Absolutely.
Yeah, half the time I'm just kind of like, do I want to date? My back hurts and I can't feel my legs, and
Law and Order.
just yeah. It's go to KFC or go on dates. I don't know. Anyway, go to the gym. All that shit you got to do, and but it's harder too because you're kind of set in your ways. I think in your 50s, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're kind of like, no, I'm not putting up with that bullshit.
Yeah.
When you're 20, you're like, whatever she wants to do. Okay, yes, dear. Okay, whatever. Yeah. Now, when you're 50, you're just like, no.
You've been there, and unlike when you're in your 20s, you don't have this feeling like, I have decades ahead of me to get this right. You really don't when you're in your 50s and your 60s. You've been there, and you want to get a lot more serious about who you're gonna partner with.
So your character, Dr. David Lisk.
Yes.
And he's an English professor.
Yes.
So does he become like does he end up getting some good dates and maybe engagements, or just be okay? Yeah. There you go. I wasn't sure if he was just making great matchmaking, because I've done that before. I've helped other people get in relationships, and I'm just sitting here single going, what am I, chopped liver? I am actually. Chopped liver is the title of my Tinder profile.
Wow. Okay. Chopped liver. Out there for everyone.
I might actually do that. Chopped liver. I'm just, according to chicks, I'm just chopped liver.
Nice. But Chris, you just mentioned something, is that the matchmaker is sometimes never matched. And as LGBTQ folk, we know that role very well in books and movies. We've so often been the sidekick. We're the one who sets everything up for the main character and then just kind of disappears and is never seen again once our job is done. In this case, the matchmaker also finds his match, and it's by someone named Eldon, who has been his longtime best friend. These guys have known each other for a long time. And now that David is single, Eldon finds that it's his chance to kind of step up to the plate. And there is a lot of, it's not spicy, I will say that. It's a not spicy romance, but it is obvious that these guys are into each other. And that's something else you don't see, is desire portrayed among characters who are in their 50s and 60s. Even with a lot of the big romances and the big dating, streamers and all of that, it's all young people, and they're beautiful, and those stories are all valid. But there's not enough stories centered on people who are over the age of 50, who have just as much desire and just as much to offer a partner in life.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes more, because, we usually kind of have our brains and our shit together by 50. At least some of us do. I don't know.
Some of us do.
Tinder, or I've seen Twitter. It's Twitter callback joke. But I mean, it's harder. You're stuck in your ways too. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm almost 60. I'm 58. I guess that's the first time I've had to admit that one. Excuse me. Choking a little bit here. But I'm at the point now where if I ever got in a relationship, I'd be like, okay, you have your house over there and I got mine over here, and we're just gonna keep it that way.
Yeah.
We'll be in a relationship, but I had one guy over on my show. He's a big I think he started as a musician, but he's on TikTok, and he has a house and he does all these crazy stunts with his house. He cuts the floor out, and there's two things. And so when he came on the show, I said to him, I go, how in the hell does your wife let you do all this stuff to her house? And he goes, no, Chris, we have the perfect relationship set up. And I go, what is it? He goes, I bought the house straight across from her for me in Las Vegas, and so she has her house straight across the street, and I have my house, and I can do anything I want in my house, but I can't do any of the shit that you see on Tinder or TikTok to her house. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
That's a relationship that's gonna last.
Because once you start living together, and it's like guy who put the toothpaste in the wrong whatever, and yada yada yada. You put the dishes in the dishwasher wrong.
Yeah. Apparently, there is a right way, apparently, and it's never the way you do it.
Exactly. Same thing with the toilet paper rolls, right? But no, it's just, like, when you're 20, you're like, yeah, let's have sex in the morning, and oh, this would be great.
Yeah.
Me at 58, I'm like, look, unless I have like 4 to 5 shots of espresso in the morning, people will die. There's like a sign on my espresso machine that says, no coffee, no talkie. That you don't. Everyone knows you don't bother Chris in the morning until he's had his coffee. Like at least 12 hours, and then finally I can be social.
Yes. Yes.
And then I might want some nookie.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is kind of let's talk about this, because this is kind of an intention that you put into your books to talk about some of these things. Is this I'm just going to take a guess here. Is this a kind of a self-reflection of your life and being at the older ages and some of the things that you're experiencing?
Absolutely. Gay Bash was my first novel. It came out when I was in my late 30s. I was reflecting in my early 30s. Summerdale, which was kind of the in the middle, it's a horror trilogy set right here in Chicago. This was kind of like reflecting a little bit behind with some of the characters, and with the main character, who is an older gentleman. It's kind of looking ahead. And Single and Cooking, which is a draft I've held for about 20 years before I decided to really do something with it, is definitely where I'm at now. I'm about to be 55, and where I want to go and who I want in my life. And there were I've written wonderful people. Eldon, I think, is one of the more popular characters, because he wears his heart on his sleeve. And he obviously loves David very much, even when David tries to kind of push him away, in the sense of, I've never had this kind of love before. This can't be real. I'm scared. And Eldon just keeps coming back.
Wow. There you go. That's definitely unlike any responses I get on Tinder. They never come back. Usually we got ghosted. I spent most of my time being a playboy all my life and having fun. Yeah. It didn't help that I owned a modeling agency for for about 10 years. What was my point? My point is, now I kind of, with COVID, I kind of woke up and, being 50s, about the same time, I kind of woke up and I realized I was in the third or fourth quarter of the game. Most people don't tell you, they think 50 is midlife. 37 or 38 or something, Google it, people. I'm not going to do that during the show. Is midlife, because the average man only lives to about 75, 70s, if you're lucky. Yeah. I mean, I got friends that are dying all around me in the 50s, and I'm just like, my friends warned me about this when I was young. They're like, there's a time where you go to a lot of weddings, Chris, and then there's a time in your life where you go to a lot of funerals and your friends disappear. Yeah. And it's weird out there. You're just like dodging bullets, and so I kind of started taking life a little seriously. I started looking for my person, whatever that means. I don't think there's really a person, but someone that I could put up with, let's put it that way. Yeah. And I started going, okay, well, maybe it's time to hang up the condoms and try and find a relationship. I just did that in my head. And try and find a relationship. And and that's still not working, but we're trying. But it's kind of that perspective you get at 50 is what I'm trying to allude to. Yes. Yeah, where you're like, hey, I'm in the final stages of the game, and I mean, it's hospital beds coming down the pike here at me, and I might want to find somebody who can drive me in and out of the hospital. I just had 2 hernia surgeries, so that's what that's about. Ooh. Thank God for my mom, though. Yeah. They don't release you from the hospital to a taxi service or whatever those other things are called, Uber. They won't. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
no, they won't.
Bring a relative or something, I'm like, well, I mean, if I have a heart attack in the car, the Uber driver's going to drive me back to the hospital and kick me out. So yeah, it's harder. You start getting a different perspective. You start learning that, and then being reckless and getting some of the shit relationships or situationships when you're younger, because you're just like, sex is great, and then you're like, wait, this person's fucking batshit. Run, and you got to go through all that, and there's divorces people have, and wet marriages, and I know people that they fight. They spend more time on each other and around each other, and I don't mean on each other in that way. In divorce court,
Mm.
after they're divorced, they spend more time obsessed with each other than they did when they were married. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
I've seen that sometimes. So, you like to put a lot of these themes into your book about some of your personal experiences.
Yeah.
And then you talk about in your writing tackling a lot of isms. Tell us what that
Yeah.
means.
Yeah. So ageism is the one I'm confronting mostly in Single and Cooking. And that is, again, just kind of trying to react to what I don't see in the market, which is characters over 50, centered that way. But there's certainly in Summerdale, which again is the horror, that is a trilogy about four gay men, four addictions, one landlord from hell.
Ah, landlord from hell.
And in that book, I'm really speaking directly to my community, the gay community, about misogyny, racism, and domestic abuse and substance abuse in our community. Conversations I don't really see happening. And it's based on a house that is in a beautiful neighborhood here on the north side, and a kindly landlord named Mr. McGreevy, who is the nicest man you'll ever meet, but he is actually a supernatural sociopath who works on his tenants until the only place they feel safe is inside his house. So
Wow.
it is an exploration of privilege. It's an exploration of harm to self and harm to others in the community. So it was in some ways a difficult book to write. I would say that it's spicy horror for sure. There's a lot of kink in it, but it's never used to shame the characters. It's used for a purpose and to show a side of the character. And it's been very well received. Again, number one reader, even for queer horror, is straight women.
Straight women, they really love gay dudes. My mom sometimes will be like, I really would like to get one of those gay friends, and then I could go shopping with him and talk to him about all my stuff, but he can't talk to me about any of his stuff. And I'm like, that's not how friendships work, Mom.
Yeah, come over to one of our festivals. There's it's very welcoming. And one thing that I've noticed is actually two things. Because I'm sometimes asked, well, are you ready for gay men? Absolutely. It's just that by far women read for enjoyment far more than men do. Yeah. And it's also a way for women to find out about people who are not like themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
The relationships, the dialogue, all of it is just an education. And when I, go into a book club, and sometimes I'm the only guy there, it's, 12, sometimes more women, and they have wonderful questions. They can't learn enough about people who are different than them. And it feels great that, if I wouldn't have taken a chance on my own writing, I didn't know what was ahead back in, in 2014. And that is something that I never would have found out about myself if I hadn't had the courage to become an indie author. I never would have met these people otherwise.
Yeah. Let's talk about your other books, and then let's talk about the indie author stuff. Yeah. Tell us about, let's just start off with Gay Bash, and then we'll move to the trilogy.
Yeah. So Gay Bash is set in Lakeview, north side of Chicago. It's about a reserved gay man who fights back against two attackers and changes his life. So it's an emotional journey. The main character is very much based on me in my 30s. Maddie is his name. And he feels kind of trapped. He has a very comfortable but unfulfilling life and doesn't see a whole lot of potential. He is very average looking, maybe a little pudgy. He doesn't dress in the latest. And reflecting on myself at that age, and probably even still now, appearance matters in the community, and it's easy to feel overlooked when you're in spaces where those things matter, and you're trying to date and you're trying to show your best side. But, for Matt, he's very creative. He's very passionate about his work in nonprofit. He doesn't really go to the gym that much. So for him in that 30s, and I was reflecting on my own experience of that, it kind of matters what you look like. And that's, a level of attractiveness that's going to, bring you more dates and get you a little bit more attention when you walk into a bar, which is something his best friend Greg has in spades. So it was really looking at the, how I felt in my 30s and how I wanted to feel. And that was a character of Greg.
Oh, wow. There you go. And so a lot of your life is interwoven into some of these, your experiences and some of the
Yep.
things you have. Ageism is a really big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
I find it hard to date the 20-year-olds when I'm 50.
Much.
For some reason, that one movie star guy, he can pull it off. What's his name? He only dates like once the girls hit like 23, he dumps them or something. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
The big movie star. He's in all the movies with. He's kind of a short guy actually, so I don't
Okay.
know. Or he seemed like a short guy to me. I
Huh.
don't know, but Leonardo DiCaprio. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, there's kind of a shtick that the internet's figured out that he dumps girls once they hit 23 or 24,
Wow.
25 or something. But I mean, he can, so go for it. Uh,
Hey.
if you can date 20-year-olds, I can pull off 30s, but yeah, the 20-year-olds just won't go. So there you go. Now let's talk about the other this is a trilogy, if I understand correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about this. What's the title of it?
Yeah, it's called Summerdale.
Mm-hmm.
And after Gay Bash finished out, and I started going to festivals, which I started doing because when it was initially an ebook, and this is again going back to when it came out in 2014, it was initially an ebook, and the Kindle changed everything for indie authors. It really kind of got us on the playing field. But I had enough people say, well, I don't like tablets. I want to hold a book. So as an indie, like I don't have a house, I don't have an agency. I had to find out how do you make a paperback. And as the ebooks were coming up, so were print on demand, and eventually Audible gave us the opportunity to create our own audiobooks, which Gay Bash is as well. So I went out to festivals because it scared me, because the idea of rejection to my face was frightening. But I went out, I set up my little table, stacked up my books, and that's how I got into festivals and cons. And it's been a very big part of my business. Almost all of my book sales are through events and readings. And it feels great because that's the best way to get immediate response and to meet new readers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, meeting your readers is really important too. It can give you a lot of feedback,
Yeah.
kind of what they see. I mean, I've had some authors on the show that they've got 60 plus books. They've been doing it for 4 decades, and sometimes readers will come to them at shows and be like, "Hey, do you know your one main character is an alcoholic?" And they'll be like, "What?" And then they'll be like, "Holy crap, you're right." And so usually they're including someone from their life who's an alcoholic and throwing them under the bus as you sometimes do.
Completely.
It's like don't piss off authors; they might write about you and kill you off in their series. But
It's
you
true.
can learn a lot. People sometimes your audience might know the characters better, and they follow them. It's crazy.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
But after Gay Bash, then Summerdale came, and again, because I didn't have a contract and I was going to events, I was hearing what was going on. What are people talking about? And that's when horror came, and because I wasn't constrained to focus groups or being told what my next book is going to be, I had that freedom, and I decided, okay, I'm going to go with horror. And I don't know why. I've always loved horror. It appealed to me from a young age. I grew up closeted, so no one had to tell me the symbolism of horror. I knew what the full moon meant. I knew what Bruce Banner is. Bruce Banner is acceptable in society until he gets angry. Then people get scared. When you change,
he is kind of big and green.
He is big and green. Lou did a great job with that. But it's like you're okay as long as you're normal. But once there's a full moon, you're bitten by a radioactive spot, something changes, then all of a sudden you're a threat. I understood that very early on. So horror has always been a part of my reading and some of the movies I loved. So I knew when I was starting Summerdale that it's going to be a completed trilogy before I even think about pitching it for adaptation. And I wanted to contribute something that's not already in the market. And that is, their queer horror is getting bigger and bigger. There's more and more authors. And it's a really exciting space to be in.
There you go. So it's is this a fairly new genre, gay horror? Is this
it's more recent, as there simply are more indie authors, which is great. The world needs more art, not less. So we
There you
do
go.
need more voices. There's romantasy, there's blending of genres, and when I met some of the cons, it's interesting to see the fan base who are into vampires, dragons, vampire dragon. It's a really open space to bring your creative vision into. Whereas maybe a generation ago, those stories would not have gotten past the gatekeepers. Now
No.
they have beautiful covers, beautiful artwork. They're at events and they're selling well, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I just hit the link on Amazon under your book for under LGBTQ plus horror fiction. Yeah, wow, there's a lot of stuff here.
Yeah, there is.
There you go. There you go. Now you talk about this. You mentioned before that you went. Your number one question when you go to book events is how did you get started? Tell
Yeah.
us about what this mindset was before and after your first indie novel, and what you went through to finally publish and all that.
Yeah, I will blame my parents in the most loving way possible. I was raised in a loving home. I'm an only child. I was
Hmm.
raised in a home where creativity was not wrong.
Mm.
I was never told boys don't make little houses and towns out of construction paper. Boys
Hmm.
do that. Boys
Hmm.
don't write stories in books. Boys do this.
Hmm.
It was accepted.
Mm.
So when I had this idea for Gay Bash and it was getting rejected year after year after year, the 6 years that I allowed gatekeepers to tell me that my work did not matter,
Mm.
I was also looking at what did get published. And nothing like my story was hitting the bestseller list, was on the
Mhm.
shelves of my favorite indie booksellers. And by 2014, the Kindle had come around. And I really thought to myself, if I keep trying to do this the traditional way, the nice way, it might
Mm.
not ever happen. And my parents might not ever see the love and the nurturing they gave me as a child later in life as an adult. And that broke my heart. So
Mm.
that's when I pressed publish. It went out. I dedicated it to them.
Mhm.
They've read it. They've actually read all of my work, even horror. And it just
Even
feels
the horror.
wonderful. They come to my events. My family and my friends
Oh,
come to my events, and they're
cool.
selling with me, and they're helping keep the energy up when I do get rejected.
Mm.
So, I've always had a wonderful, loving, and supportive family.
Mhm.
But the 12 years since then, when Summerdale came and I hadn't done market research, I'm just following creative spirit here. I'm
Mhm.
not guided by, again, focus groups or being told by agencies what I should be writing. What are the trends for next year? That's not on my mind at all. I'm being led by characters, the characters who told me yes, rather than the people in power who told me no.
Mm.
So here comes horror. And I'm using the time that I am not getting responses to a pitch for an adaptation. I'm using the time when I am not getting reviews when I send out a press release. I'm using the time when I'm feeling overlooked and underestimated to
Mhm.
keep churning out work. That's what
Mm.
I chose to do instead of feeling rejected by people who never wanted me. I've never looked back. So now I've been free to
Mhm.
write what I want, to bring it out into the world as authentically as I can. And I'm kind of sad that Single and Cooking Book 2 is going to finish up in June.
Oh.
I don't have a whole lot after that right now
Mm.
on the boards. And that feels great because these works, when I send them out, they're done. They're completed works.
Uh-huh.
And that feels great that I'm a writer who will finish what he starts. But these characters they're kind of special to me. They've been with me a long time. The
Yeah.
joy of it is hearing what readers have to say about it, because I have to remind myself the characters don't belong to me. They
Mhm.
belong to the reader.
That's a really good point. The characters belong to the reader. Something for writers. And I think
Yeah.
your story is a great inspiration too for many people who want to write. We've really loved, I mean, sadly it's what COVID brought was a lot of people that finally sat down and wrote their stories
Yeah.
out and kind of
Yeah.
analyzed their life and said, maybe I need to do something different. I think we had someone yesterday on the show from Australia where COVID had made it to where she was like, I want to do something that I want to do for
Yeah.
change. and she started writing, and she has a great series of books like yourself, and 6 years of rejection from 2008 to 2014 you went through. That's just
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. And I accepted it, right?
Mm.
They know best. They're the
They know
experts. Right? That was my mindset. I didn't have an MFA. I didn't have any connection to the publishing. I'm the one who's wrong.
Wow.
And I accepted that for 6 years until I changed my mindset on that completely.
Yeah. The great thing about the indie market too is there's a lot of indie authors that show the proof of their concepts, and will usually get picked up by the big publishers. But I mean, like I said, we have Simon Schuster and Penguin Random House and other great book publishers that use the show, and I talked to a lot of the authors on the side, and you do give up some control. You give up a lot of control, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're sharing your copyright with somebody, and they've funded it, or they're promoting it or putting advertising it behind it. Some of the advertising we see that they spend is quite a lot to promote a book. But it's even like the covers. I'll have authors say, the big publisher won't let me choose my own cover, and I'm like, you got to look at that thing for the rest of your life. And they're like, yeah, I hate that cover, and I'm just like, you got to sign it at every book event from here on out. I'm like, I'd just be like, no, I'm not giving up the cover. But sometimes they do know best. I mean, they make really great covers most times, and then they'll do that whole theme cover thing. And kind of like bands will do, but 12 years now you've been doing your indie book writing and promotion. You're going out there, you're doing the events and all those things, and you the note I have here is you chose characters over gatekeepers. I think that's really important to think about. And using your time wisely, because those 6 years of rejection, you could have been publishing and doing what you do now, right?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Great lesson for authors out there, and the stick-to-itiveness. Some people, they send off a couple things. I was guilty of that when I tried to write my first book, and it didn't help that iPad was just newly released and was destroying the publishing industry. They're like, we're not taking anybody new right now. We're just trying to figure out how we're going to survive.
Right.
It was a pretty crazy time, but I just sent to a few places, but it's there's a lot of rejection to the business, and sometimes just writing your own books, and then eventually you get picked up. I know some people that did that have been on the show, so there you go. So you've got this trilogy, and then it looks like you've got the trilogy of the books here. I've got too many tabs open. The trilogy is called let's get back to that, Summerdale.
Yes,
Summerdale. And so you've got 3 books in that trilogy. Do you see anything more coming out from that series?
Possible spinoff, but I finished it. I'm not anticipating a 4th book. Similar to Single and Cooking, I don't anticipate a 3rd book. I kind of want it to live in the reader's mind what happens next. I think that's the best place for it to be.
There you go. And then you've got this new book that we talked about and let off with Single and Cooking. There's going to be a 2nd book coming up, right?
Yep.
There you go. And then do you see that becoming maybe a series beyond the 2nd book? Or
so in David's dreams, which I will make happen, I do see Summerdale as a 3-season limited series. I think a streamer, it would work very well there. Single and Cooking is a 2-part movie.
There you go. A 2-part movie.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let's part 2. And then, let's put this all out there. Gay Bash starts as a play. So it's a stage play, and then it's adapted into a movie. I'm hitting all the bases here, stage and screen.
There you go. Well, that's where you start getting that big money there. Get that movie stuff. And there's so many different outlets now, Amazon and Netflix, and people that do to help things go. So as we go out, final thoughts, pitch people on your book, tell people where they can find you. I think you mentioned you might have some speaking events coming up or something like, or event.
Yeah, I've started a speaking business. So I have a keynote called Writing Your Own Story, and it's based on encouraging people to reconnect with their own creative passion, to bring more work into the world. And it's an answer to a question I get by being at events over and over. I'm asked, I've always wanted to write a book. How did you get started? So this is the keynote where I answer all of that, and I give some nice takeaways that are easy to get into your own system, very useful, and then you can bring that into your own hobby for your own enjoyment, or maybe into your own enterprise. Either way, I just am interested in getting more people reconnected to their creative passions.
There you go. Connect to your creative passions. And I'm glad you're sharing the wealth. You know, some people, when they get successful, they have this door closed behind them mentality. Like, no, I don't want to help other people come up. You know?
No,
like
not
people
me.
ask me for advice on how to create a great podcast. And I'm like, no, I'm not sharing the secret sauce of the juice. But I'm a jerk. So, but no, sharing other people, helping inspire other people, maybe more LGBTQ plus genres can come forth and you can inspire some more of that. And, you know, that just, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. You can either think from abundance or scarcity, right? Yeah. There you go. Think from abundance, people. So as we go out, give people your .coms if we didn't before, and tell us where people can find you on the interwebs to follow up with you.
Absolutely. My website is davidjcollins.com. That's davidjaycollins.com. And Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook are all David J. Collins as well.
There you go. Well, thank you very much, David, for coming on the show and sharing your inspiring story. And maybe we'll get a lot of other people that want to put reading and the things and all that dealio. Thank you very much, David.
Thank you, Chris. It's been a great conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thanks so much for tuning in. Order up his book wherever fine books are sold. And you can get that in the different places. I think you can buy it directly off your website too, can't you? There you go.
Signed and sent.
Well, thanks for coming by. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikToky and all those crazy places on the internet. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the most amazing, intelligent podcast ever made to improve your brain and your life. Warning, consuming too much of the Chris Voss Show podcast can lead to people thinking you're smarter, younger, and irresistible sexy. Consume in regularly moderated amounts. Consult a doctor for any resulting brain bleed.
All right, David.